Hello dear friends, welcome to my channel Prasad's Learning Hub. My name is Rajesh Prasad and the motto of my channel is to excel in life sciences field. So whoever are associated in life sciences field will definitely get benefited from my this channel. So let us start our video. So the topic of my this presentation is overview on cell membrane and its function. So as we all know, what is cell membrane? Cell membrane is a outer layer, or we can say that it's a boundary outside the every cells which protects the cells from outside environment. So let us see in details that what is cell membrane and how the cell does it work. So cell membrane, as we all know that cell membrane is also known as plasma membrane or cytoplasmic membrane, and more specifically it is known as biological membrane. And it surrounds the cytoplasms of living cells. So all living cells has this biological membrane or cell membranes which protects the cells, and the cytoplasm is surrounded by this membrane. As you can see here in the figure that this is the cytoplasm and the cell membrane is outside, which protects the or surrounds the cytoplasm of a cell. What is the main functions of cell membrane? So the main two functions is it physically separates the intracellular component. Intracellular components means the interior substance of a cell, like cell organelles, cytoplasms, all those are known as intracellular components. So that intracellular components and extracellular environment, those two are separated by this cell membrane. And extracellular environment means outside environment of the cell. And the other functions of cell membrane is it protects the cell from its environment. So if there is any harsh condition, any unfavorable conditions, then from any damage also the cell membrane protects the cells from outside environment. So if we want to see that what is the main compositions of cell membrane, so the main compositions of cell membranes, it has two main components, that is phospholipids bilayer and the other is proteins. We will discuss in details about these components in the later slide. Now let us see the another point, that cell membrane is also known as semi-permeable membrane. Why it is called semi-permeable membrane? Because it allows only to enter or leaves particular substance, particular molecules. That is why it is also sometimes called a selectively permeable membrane, because it allows only certain substance to pass inside and from inside to outside. Next point is cell membrane is also known as living layer. As compared to the cell wall which is found in plants and fungi, cell wall is also a membrane, but it is dead layer. But here cell membrane is a living layer. So that is very important point we have to remember. Now let us see what are the different components of cell membrane. So here in figures you can see nicely that cell membrane is composed of four components: phospholipid bilayer, here phospholipids bilayer, cholesterol, proteins and glycocalyx. In the figure you can see phospholipids has bilayer, two layers are found. Okay, one having upward directions and another is downward directions, and each phospholipid molecules it has two regions, that is head region and tail regions. Tail, it has two parts, two tail is there, and head regions is only one head, so which has glycerol and phosphate group, and the tail region is made up of fatty acids, and the head region is hydrophilic in nature, meaning is this, that it attracts water molecule, whereas tail region is hydrophobic in nature, which repel water molecules. Due to these characteristics, the head regions always pointed outwards and the tail region is always pointed inward. Here in the figure we can see nicely, because of the hydrophilic and the hydrophobic nature of the phospholipid molecule. The next component of cell membrane is cholesterol, which is embedded or seated into the phospholipid, in between the phospholipid molecules. Here you can see these are all cholesterol molecules. So it is also a kind of lipid, and the main function of the cholesterol inside the cell membrane is that it maintains the fluidity of a cell membrane. And the third component of the cell is proteins. Proteins are again of two types, peripheral protein and the integral protein. So peripheral proteins are those proteins which are located on the surface of the membrane, and the integral proteins are those which partially or completely embedded inside the cell membrane. So that is why it is known as integral protein, and the peripheral protein because on the surfaces of the cell membrane that the peripheral proteins are located. And the fourth component of the cell membrane is known as glycocalyx. So glycocalyx is generally a carbohydrate which are also found in cell membranes, and they are of two types. So those carbohydrates which are attached to the proteins, here in the figure you can see, are known as glycoproteins. So these are glycoproteins which are attached with the proteins, and those carbohydrate molecules which are attached with lipid or phospholipid, here you can see those carbohydrates are termed as glycolipids. So the main functions of these glycoproteins and glycolipids are that it allows cell to recognize each other, and also it helps in cell recognitions and in communications and also in intercellular adhesions. So these are the different components, four components of cell membrane: phospholipid bilayer, cholesterol, proteins, and glycocalyx, meaning is carbohydrates. So generally four things we will get: lipids, cholesterol, it is also a kind of lipids, proteins, and the another component is carbohydrates. Next, till now we have many models regarding the structure and the complexity of the cell membrane. So but the best and the most widely acceptable model of plasma membrane or cell membrane is fluid mosaic model, which was given by Singer and Nicholson in the year 1972. So according to this model, the plasma membrane or the cell membrane has fluidity nature because the molecules in cell membranes are constantly moving, and due to which changing their positions, due to which the cell membrane performs function as fluidity. It has a fluidity nature, and as I have told earlier that the head region of the phospholipid molecule is made up of hydrophilic, and the tail region is made up of hydrophobic. Here you can see in the figure nicely. So this is the most widely acceptable model of plasma membrane or cell membrane, that is fluid mosaic model. So this is very important information regarding the structure or the model regarding the cell membrane. So coming to the main slide, and that is cell membrane functions. So what are the different functions performed by cell membrane? What actually cell membrane does? So the main function of the cell membrane is protection. It protects the cell. It protects the cell from the outside environment. That is the main function. And the second function is it is selectively permeable membrane. Meaning is this, that it only allows certain molecules to pass across the membrane, due to which the cell membrane is also known as selectively permeable membrane or sometimes semi-permeable membrane. And the third function is the communication. As we have seen that carbohydrate component of the cell membrane helps in the communications and also allow cell to recognize each other. So cell membrane also plays important role in communications. And the another function is that it also plays a very crucial role in anchoring cytoskeleton and attaching extracellular matrix. Meaning is this, that cell membranes also provides mechanical support to the cell. And the fifth functions of the cell membrane is it maintains the cell potential. As we all know that the the charge inside the cell and outside the cell is not same. So due to which there is a difference between the charges inside and outside the cell. So that differences is known as cell potential, and that cell potential is maintained by the cell membrane. And the another function of cell membrane is the transmembrane protein channels and transporters. So these are the proteins which are present inside the cell membrane, which act as a transporters or act as a channels, due to which certain molecules can pass across the cell membrane. Another interesting point we should know about the cell membrane is the permeability of the cell. Meaning is which substance can pass through the cell membrane. Not all the substance can pass through the cell membrane. So which are the substances can pass through the cell membrane easily and which cannot pass? So from the figure here you can see nicely that the small and non-polar molecules, that are carbon dioxide and oxygens, these are the small and non-polar molecules. They can easily diffuse across the membrane. Easily they can quickly and in a faster rate they can pass through the cell membrane. And there is another group of substance, that is small and polar molecules. For example, water, ethanol, they can also pass or can diffuse across the membrane, but somewhat slowly compared to these gases, which is small and non-polar molecules. And the another group of substance, that is large and non-polar molecules. For example, carbon rings. This is benzene, for example. This can also pass, but it in a very slower rate compared to the gases. And the fourth category of the molecules will be large and polar molecules. So large and polar molecules, for example, glucose, charged molecules, for example, amino acids, ions such as calcium ion, sodium ion, hydrogen ion, chloride ions. These molecules cannot pass easily. It is very difficult to pass without any help. Meaning is this, they require some amount of energy, or they require the help of protein channel, or we can say that the transporters or some proteins are required for their entry inside the cell. So these are the substances which can pass across the cell membrane. So here those which can pass easily without any help, this group of molecules can pass through passive diffusion, passive diffusion. And those which need some help, they may need ATP, or they may need some amount of energy, or some amount of, some carrier proteins are required for their entry. So this kind of transport is known as active transport. So dear friends, this is what I would like to end here my talk. So if you like my videos, so then like, share and subscribe, and also keep watching my videos. So for now, bye bye, and we will meet in the next video. Thank you.